know that if I had Gouda, my mom was responsible because she's a cheesehead. Not from Wisconsin.
I was going to open up with, cunt waffles or twat muffins, but now that you mentioned your mom, now I can't do that. Hope you're happy.
Piss quick, cunt waffles.
I never piss quick.
Shit neck. Shit neck. That's one of my own inventions. Shit neck.
Ass hat.
Ass hat.
Fuck with.
Butt fuck.
Ball gobbler.
Cocksucker.
Sour Susan.
Tallywhacker. Oh, that's one of those you can get away with.
Ooh, tallywhacker.
Yeah.
I do
Butt scratcher?
Britishism.
Butt scratcher.
Butt scratcher.
Oh, right.
I didn't know there was a band named Anal Cunt until yesterday.
Yeah, lead singer passed away last week.
Well, I'm not surprised. With a
there-
band name like that he had to live up to? Poor man.
It literally killed him to death.
Twice.
Yes.
In the ass.
Oh.
Anally.
It was a stinky death.
Yes, it was.
You just going to town on that whole little package, aren't you?
I said if you left it.
That's
done,
what she said.
That's what he wished.
Yes, exactly. Hello, I'd like to go to town on your package. Well,
Look,
Hello, I'd like to play with your niblets.
and then I'd say, don't know the old man spell.
Water, Helen. It's everywhere.
Well, welcome. Doing a nice little
I thought we were really
throwback.
going to have to perform CPR on her.
Well, you told me not to laugh.
No, I didn't say you couldn't laugh. I was like, no, you gotta be quiet so we can get this down.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
all
be
of a sudden,
quiet,
she's
which means-
literally having convulsions. She's trying hard not to laugh out loud.
Because you sounded like that.
When
It was so perfect. I couldn't.
when she emailed him out, my boy, I was like, dude, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. He was like, all right. And so I finally got him to listen to the Crimson Tide, and he was like, dude, that's fucking hysterical. I was like, did I not tell you? Do you see?
Do you see?
And just like that, we're going to hell. What was your wife's comment?
We've cemented our positions in hell.
Yeah.
She would not even listen to the rest of the recording.
She never listens to our recordings, though.
Well, I was like, hey, you gotta listen to this. It's a little crass. But she goes, okay, everything you do is crass. So I was like, okay. So I put it in there, and
He
she
put it
listened
in
to
there.
She listened to it. She goes, "You cemented your positions in hell, and no, I'm not going to listen to the rest of it."
Did she listen to the whole thing, or did she only get
She listened to the whole thing,
Well,
and then she goes, "Who did the Helen Keller part?" And I just smiled at her. And she goes, "Why the fuck am I not surprised?" Yeah.
I've got a mouthful.
We are an
I also-
irreverent radio station, by the way.
I also
You can
texted
figure that
her.
out.
Thank you.
I also texted her Thursday. I said, "She goes, what do you do? How's your day?" And I said, "Well, phone calls haven't made me want to kill anybody yet." And I said, "I'm just about to wrap up what I have with Harry Chapin." And
Harry Chapin.
apparently,
Is that
folk
Harry
rock is an
Rasmussen's
acquired
brother?
taste.
Yeah.
I liked out of so far what he's been able to have published. I only like 10 songs. And she goes, "Well, that's kind of like you." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're an acquired taste."
Ew.
And so which I replied, "Well, you keep asking for spoonfuls of it."
Whoa!
And then I was going down that path again.
What does it mean like when this starts tasting like something's burning?
You think it's love? Something.
Well, there's
burning?
levels of burning.
That was bad.
A hunk of burning love?
Yeah.
I think whatever's.
Hunka squirting love.
Ew.
Oh, baby Grady.
Oh.
Look, I'm skiing down the mountain. I'm skiing down the mountain. I'm skiing down the mountain.
That should be what this is called.
Okay, well, you know what? You just ruined the surprise.
Reginald
for everyone.
Jizzington.
Reginald.
Jizzington.
Because, dude, when you refer to the area between the balls and the asshole as the swamp of sorrow, it's time for recording.
That was you, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's time for recording.
Oh.
For another test.
Oh,
Because I just moved. Everybody else sounded good, but it sounded like he was licking dick till he got sick over there.
well.
Had to bring it back. I'm sorry.
Word.
Just so everyone's aware, butt sex.
Yeah.
Call that
Doesn't
one out.
count unless we're recording.
Yeah,
It's
but
in
we are
context.
recording.
Caption interruption.
I'm about to be Captain Shut the Fuck Up in a minute. With my special power of Shut the Fuck Up. You ready for this?
You have a six-pack or shut the fuck up?
You're holding your breath, really? I mean, we're just going to watch you have an aneurysm.
Future hernia victims of America. You're watching it.
what did you learn from this experience?
You're ridiculous.
You said dick.
That reminds me of some of the things I want to mention later in the day.
What's that?
Are we
Seizures?
recording?
I mean, we're recording
No.
a testicle.
Chris Staniforth is somebody I want to mention later.
Who?
Chris Staniforth.
And
I'm sorry, is he supposed to be somebody I'm supposed to know?
I'm glad I'm the only one that doesn't know
Chris
what we're talking
Staniforth dies from blood clot after 12-hour Xbox marathons.
one clot in his legs from
And somebody's already posted on a comment, he lived for his Xbox.
Wow.
Lives by the Xbox.
Died by the Xbox. And my comment was, he wouldn't have
One
had-
box to rule them all.
My comment would have
One box to
been,
find.
this wouldn't have happened if he had a PlayStation 3. Ooh!
Did you post it?
Not yet.
No, you should. I still think that's kind of funny.
That's a geek
Wait,
joke.
why? 'Cause
Also, it
PlayStation
wouldn't have
3
happened
so
if he
hard
had-
you didn't want to play it for 12 hours? Is that
I literally played 18 hours straight on my PlayStation 3 because of
what
this.
But you just said it wouldn't have happened.
He wouldn't have had a blood clot if he played on his PS3.
He
Right.
wouldn't have had a blood clot if he just bought a damn Wii.
Who invented the Xbox?
I don't know.
Microsoft.
But I don't get why the PlayStation 3 wouldn't cause a blood clot if you sat there for 12 hours and played it.
Because there was an outage.
That's why you fail.
No, that's why
Yes.
you two are idiots.
What you're saying is because she's a woman, her opinion doesn't matter?
I'm saying she's a woman on an Xbox, that's why it doesn't matter.
What?
I'll second that motion. So goddamn quiet. You guys suck butthole.
Tests don't matter either. Especially your testicle. That's how you should call it.
At least he has
Why do you hurt me? Hey, Calv. This is for you, buddy. Oh, yeah.
You don't sound like you're enjoying that celery very much.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's having some celery.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I'm about to finish. I'm about to finish. Oh, God. I finished.
But, the other thing, too, is just from a logical standpoint. I mean, it's not cheap to import CDs. It's especially not cheap to import singles. CDs are easier to... What?
Nothing.
No, I mean, you're just looking at me like I'm crazy because I just said it's not cheap to import.
Not be cheap if they did it right. For example, you cut the master copy.
Mhm.
You take the copy of the master copy and you mail it to your parent record company.
Mhm.
For example, if they were with
Epic.
Epic, all they had to do was send it to Sony. Sony's based in New York.
Mhm.
And then they can mass produce the CD there. And all you had to do was pay the $100 to ship it.
Well, I mean, the albums are not as... I mean, look, I've been importing records since I was 17.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the albums themselves are easier to get a hold of. They're not that expensive to import or whatever, especially if you buy a used copy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking to get a single, there's a window where you can actually get it. There are singles that you cannot get. I mean, if you go to Amazon.de and they'll ship internationally, then yeah, I mean, you can probably get it. Not cheap because you're shipping internationally. But I mean, if you go to Amazon.com and try and find, some of Oomp's earlier singles, it's not going to be easy. And if you do find it, it's not going to be cheap. I mean, there's always going to be, exceptions to the rules. Every now and then it's just like with eBay where you'll find, random shit. Oh, hey, they're only selling that for, $20. Fuck yeah, I'll take that. It's not every situation, but overall, it's not cheap to import. It's just not.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there are avenues where you can go where it is cheaper. There are special exceptions to where it is, more affordable. But when you look at it in the sense of, do I want to pay more and do I want to wait longer to get an imported single? Or imported album? I don't want it to sound like the shit that I can get
Thank you.
by walking up the street and going to the CD store, and purchasing some American band that makes the same shit.
Well, it's also a reversal issue is that I actually have some European imports of actual American bands, some from Megadeth, a couple other bands. I also have a single import from Killing Joke that was only available in Europe. Yeah. And it damn near cost me an arm and a leg for both of them.
Yep.
Especially the Megadeth one that I have is out of print.
And I mean, even the Iron Maiden Japanese collection that you have. I mean, it's just not. If you look at it from a cost efficient point of view, if they're making the same shit that you can get down the street, why not just go buy an American band?
At the time when I purchased it, I said $200
for the Iron Maiden thing. I believe you said $300.
$300. If you break it down and divide it by 10, it's roughly the same amount I would have spent for an album.
Yeah.
So, being that it was an import, I probably paid a little extra for the import part of it. It's also out of print. So, I mean, at the time, I really wasn't upset that I spent that kind of money, especially now, 18, 19 years later, how much I've seen it go for online.
Yeah.
And
probably in the thousands.
I'm not saying that importing albums is a bad thing. I've done it since I was 17.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, if I'm looking at it to where, there's this German band or there's this, Italian band or, a band that's outside of the States, if they make the same shit as an American band, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Right.
I understand. I'm just saying, I was just throwing that out there as a pros and cons.
No.
But Fred, we found my Iron Maiden box set on eBay, $1,700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah.
So I was just like, holy crap!
Imagine if it was sealed.
Well, then I wouldn't have been, exposed to, makeup.
Well, exactly.
Besides, you don't buy a
You
box
greedy lot.
You don't buy a box set like that, whether it be Oomph or Iron Maiden or Pink Floyd, just to sit in a box. You buy a box
To
set
listen
and
to
to
it.
listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's previously
You gotta molest it a
unreleased
little bit. I
material.
mean, come on.
Right. I mean, but if it's a box set of like Pink Floyd did a box set, Shine
On, which I
And it
wish
was
I
just-
still had. But
Yeah,
I don't.
and I've got it. It's just that it was a remastered edition. There was nothing special except for one disc, which was a collection of single B-sides from their first couple releases before Dark Side of the Moon.
Yep.
That would have been interesting, but it was $150. So I was like, and I found somebody who had it open and I listened to it, and it was no big deal. But I mean, I didn't buy it because I already had the other albums,
Right.
and I wasn't paying $150 for an album I didn't have.
Right.
So as much as a fan as I was, I thought that the box set was outrageously overpriced.
Yeah. And, the other thing too is with importing from other countries. Another problem is like we're going to talk about how Oomph has re-released a lot of their older albums. Like I just mentioned, the self-titled debut album from 1992 was re-released in 2004. When you're getting stuff off of Amazon or eBay or things like that, they don't always give you the listings. So, like, I learned this the hard way with when I went back to collect all of Bjork's older albums.
Yep.
Her self-titled debut album was originally released without the track Play Dead because it was, what?
I'm listening. It's just it's starting to sound odd.
She released her debut album and then she made the song Play Dead, which was on, I forget which movie soundtrack, but they re-released the debut album and added the Play Dead track.
Okay.
So I went to go purchase the album, and I'm reading the discography online, and I'm like, oh, okay, so here's the track listing, whatever. I get my copy of the album that I paid for, and it doesn't have Play Dead on it. So I was kind of like, really? You assholes.
I've noticed a lot of that with remastered discographies. I was looking up some Gary Chapin stuff, and I noticed there was an alternative mix of sequel for the song Taxi. I can't find it anywhere, but it's only available in the 2008 remastered edition.
Yeah.
And I really want to know what this alternate mix sounds like. But with the thing that I've noticed is with several bands that I really like or artists that I'm interested in listening to see if I will like them, it's either a bitch to find or it's out massively outrageously priced.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's a remaster. It's the same. Then again, Fred and I talked about how Led Zeppelin remastered and then remastered and then remastered.
Right.
And it got to the point like, wow, by the time they're finished remastering, all you're going to hear is static in the background. It destroyed all the audio recording.
No, because, well,
what?
You mean Lead Zeppelin?
Yeah. Well,
Because
you know,
we're thick Americans.
yeah, but they
Nick.
from the remastering that I heard, it depended on who did it. Well, Jimmy pretty much has control over everything, so he decides who does it. But when he did it, it sounded better to me. But then I'm listening to it as a CD instead of as an album.
Yeah. And
Which
we've
I'd
talked
much
about
rather hear oomph
before.
like that.
Thick American.
I'd like to
I
hear
would love
oomph.
the vinyl edition that was released. I mean, like, I would just, we've talked about before about how vinyl, and even cassette is just not as, CD is not as good as the audio quality on cassette or vinyl.
Yep.
Well, I was also going to mention that if you get the metal cassettes, they're actually better sound quality than the standard cassettes.
Really? I mean, I'm not surprised, but.
Right, because they use a different magnet
Mm-hmm.
for the ribbon, which sounds a lot clearer.
Mhm.
It's almost CD quality as far as the quality of the recording, but not necessarily the sound of the music.
Yeah.
Record is the best so far. I mean, I just wish they were able to find a way to make the record more portable.
Digital audio
Yeah.
tape is the closest you can get to
Yeah.
vinyl.
True, but the problem is that it's still a flat recording unless it's on record, because records are created with hills and valleys for the
Yeah.
pitches and the whatnot. So records are probably so far the best device for recording.
And they're impossible or very difficult to, for people in this digital age to get a hold of the way they get a hold of things online now, because you have this platter, as they call them.
Ladder.
Yeah.
Real quick, in case we happen to ever get any listeners where English is not their first language, the term record is a synonym for vinyl and is used interchangeably. So an album can be called a record, but a vinyl actual.
Which is why when I make
is
my
called
sentences, I
record.
try not to say they recorded a record.
Yeah.
Recorded an album.
I prefer to use the term album, but just in case we
Yeah.
do that,
Plus,
I don't want to confuse them.
You and I also talked about, I mean, I would love to see what their shit looks like, the oomph stuff on vinyl, because we've all talked about this before, where you open up a record, you got a bigger picture, you've got more space for words.
Hell yeah.
And I know this is going to sound a
You
little
can get a whole
weird.
box full over there.
I know this is going to sound a little weird. Records have a distinct smell.
That's not weird at all. It's
And
true.
it smells wonderful.
And a lot of memories are triggered by smell. So
Yeah.
if
Yes.
you grew
That's one of the
up
reasons why I
listening to
love this-
records, it's a different.
Right, that's
Yeah,
one reason
Certain
why-
records will trigger different memories. I mean,
And then you have the
Like-
artwork
right.
question, and you look at the artwork on those things, and if you put that on a CD, you'd go, what the fuck is that shit?
It's so small on with the CD sleeve. It's just not.
It's not
Same.
worth it. Exactly.
But I mean,
it's
like,
also-
thankfully, my brother and I. My dad still listens to records,
Yeah.
to vinyls, to 45s. I mean, like the full. I mean,
That's
it's just,
awesome that you guys get that exposure.
Exactly, because I can't imagine
And then you
the
get
kids
also
today don't
exposed
have
to
any
the
of that. I mean, it's
I
just,
tried explaining it
You
to
get
my pseudo
exposed to the depth of
15-year-old,
the
and she's
sound
like,
also.
what are you talking about?
exactly. And I don't think a lot of them, even if you haven't ever heard music off of a record, you're not going to understand
what the fuss is about.
exactly. You're just going to be like, well, if all you've ever had is digital, you're not going to understand why.
Yeah. Plus,
God help me,
one reason-
analog is it's better.
Plus, it also goes with, I love the smell of books.
Yeah.
I love going into old record stores and old bookstores just for the smell. It's that you got the paper. It's not so much, I'm going to sit there and I got a smell fetish, or I'm just going to pop open records.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no. It does remind me of being a child.
I thought of something, but I'm not going to say it. I promise. But yeah, I know what you mean. But there are, and that goes in the whole.
It goes in the hole. Sorry, I thought I chimed in right there.
I was going to say, you've been up very quiet.
or as they say, that speaks to that whole issue of the memories it brings back and that kind of thing, and I just keep going back to, like, for instance, I bought a 30th anniversary of the White Album on a CD, and they did a wonderful job of recreating all the artwork.
Right.
And, you could open it just like you used to be able to, of course, not the same size, but, I mean, right down to the poster and everything was all miniature, but still it was there. But that still didn't do it. And that's still not the same as getting this vinyl thing and opening it. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to hear oomph that way as well.
I would love to. be able to listen to stuff on vinyl. I think it'd be very intense.
I think it would be very interesting and have much more depth to it.
Yes.
Than you can hear on
And
CD.
I mean, just hearing what depth you can hear on a digital recording of it, I can't even begin to imagine the kind of depth that would be on a vinyl. But you were also talking about, when we were talking about smells, you were talking about books. When I paint acrylic paint has a specific smell. So I don't,
like all paints, yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't just enjoy it because it's artistic expression. There's a whole, brings back memories of when I was a child, and like that kind of thing. No, it wasn't weird for you to say that you like the smell.
It's like
of books.
when my kids bring home Play-Doh.
Oh yes.
The smell.
How are you not supposed to eat Play-Doh when it's smells like that? Come on.
And I'm just like, wow, I remember making snakes and dinosaurs and
Penises.
Cheeseburgers. Do you remember? Did you have the little cheeseburger
Oh
cheese?
my god.
Oh my god.
I hated
that
those
shit
things
was so
because I
fun.
would always get hungry.
It's like
when
I'm trying to find a DVD of old 80s cartoons like the Snoopy snow cone maker.
I remember that.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
it always tasted like shit when I was a kid, so I never got one, but I still remember like the Inchworm or My Buddy or some of the other toys that I saw when I was a kid. I was just
Mr. Bucket. He put the balls in his hand. Mr. Bucket. He shoots the balls out of his mouth. Mr. Bucket.
my first exposure to rock music that I could remember was Alan Parsons Project. My mother was a big fan. She had Eye in the Sky on vinyl. And I used to remember listening to this big, huge, oversized headphones that literally clicked like, dropping plates when you put them over the head outside. And it turned out all the noise everywhere else.
Yeah.
And these were like, to today's standards, really cheaply made, but back then they were like one of the best headphones.
Oh,
They actually had volume knobs on both sides. I mean, they were really huge.
Costs, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had the big, huge, there's a big, huge phone plug adapter.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the small one, the 2.5 millimeter.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
5-inch long one.
Now you get them with the adapter
Right.
instead of.
And you don't even find the adapters anymore. I still have an adapter.
Yeah.
But back then, literally, it was about the size of this cigarette. You actually plugged it into the stereo.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's old school.
And and I would sit there and listen to
My
that
dad still
record
has.
over and over and over again. And I liked the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing the pops, the soft static in the background. And I know there's some guys out there that actually try to rip vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And for some strange reason, it doesn't seem to work as well because the hiss seems to be louder than the recording.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's because of the way it transfers to digital or the equipment they're using. I would like to experiment
Could be they
with
just have a
myself.
bad needle.
That too.
Yeah.
That was the other thing is that I remember people, well, you got to replace your needle. You got to replace your needle. You got to replace your needle because the needle, what it does is it eventually it'll cut the grooves into the records a lot deeper.
Yeah.
But to wear out a record, if you play it correctly, it will outlast your CDs
Yep.
and your cassettes. I remember, was it the
And your 8-tracks.
Oh, my dad has Jim Croce on an 8-track. I shit you not.
I had an 8-track stereo.
My dad had an 8-track in his 1968.
He also had a loincloth from back in the the days.
We got an 8-track.
I used to
We
beat
do?
girls over the head
upstairs
with my
in the player,
club.
You know that where dad's got
Drag
the
them
record
into
player
the
now?
cage.
Yeah.
The brown box with the record player on top.
Yeah.
The side door
The
on the front
gramophone.
is a 8-track player. It used to be mom's.
One of the funny stories that I have is that my dad has a gramophone, and it's one of those you lift up the top, and you have the record player in the middle, you have the 8-track on the left, you have the stereo receiver on the right.
Right.
It broke. We didn't know why, and it still had the carpet cloth, fake curtains on it, and it had these massively big, huge speakers. My mother gutted it and turned it into a linen chest. My dad did not forgive my mother for a very long time. But my mom was like, you could play, at the time, I mean, the internet wasn't around, so we couldn't actually,
figure out
where to go to have it repaired. But my mom still has it. And that was another one of the stereos that I used to listen to with records and 8-tracks. I mean, I remember my dad used to have the Paint Your Wagon soundtrack on 8-track. And that was extremely interesting. But I also remember back in high school, you got to remember, it was a Billy Joel record that was put on CD in 1985. The information degraded after 12 years.
Yeah, CDs are only rated for like 10, 12 years, something like that. Years. You can get like gold like actual gold
Gold.
CDs. They're like
Right.
$30 for 3 of them,
Right.
but they're supposed to last up to like 30 years
Yeah.
on the
I
outside.
got REM's Out of Time as a gold CD. It still scratches just like regular CDs.
Oh yeah, but
I've
it's supposedly
broken
last
a
longer.
lot of CDs in my time.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
so have
I am not to be trusted with CDs.
My
I'm
first
just
CD
saying.
purchase. It's just as bad. My first CD purchase of.
I thought you were throwing that at me,
no,
and I really
my
was like,
first
it's going to
CD
hit me in the face.
My first CD purchase of Power Slave broke as soon as I was putting it in the CD player, but I was also putting it in the car at the same time.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
driving, and the fucker just snapped in half, and it took me 2 days to get the half that broke, that fell into the CD player out.
Oh, no.
It took me 2 days.
It broke
It
in half, and then your CD
fell
player was like,
in.
nom nom nom.
Yeah, exactly. The
Oh,
CD
my
player
God.
ate it. It took me 2 days to get it out.
How'd you end up getting it out?
A pair of tweezers, and a lot of patience, and a lot of swearing.
I imagine as much.
But records,
Yeah.
they will last forever if you take care of them.
Yeah.
We need to have like vinyl players in cars.
What?
We need to have vinyl players in
Vinyl
They
cars.
used to.
Yeah.
The first was the second edition Model T had record players. I'm just going kind of drive and.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Needle.
I don't want to listen to this track again. Come on.
But,
You know what's funny as far as vinyl goes? I got to tell you this before we go off of the subject.
Interruption
Yeah,
by
no,
Fred
I
Zeppelin.
just had to tell you this because
No one
the
objected.
new cologne.
speaking of speaking of vinyl, there are songs that I remember
Interruption.
and skipping. There are songs that I remember the skip version of from the album that we had when we were kids. Like I don't know, there's an Elton John album that I can, and there's something
I feel like
else.
every time I hear
There's
this,
2 or 3 albums
sounds
that
like
I can
little people
remember
when you're
listening,
screaming.
or a Beatles song that I can remember listening to, and I like on the White Album, there's a song called "Don't Pass Me By" that Ringo. And and I can sit there and sing "Don't Pass Me By" with the skips in it.
Apparently,
I mean,
And let me just say, the skips on a vinyl,
I think it's just
not as annoying as skips on a CD.
No,
Oh my god, I want to like claw the CD out of the player when it happens. I really like. There have been times where I've been driving and a CD starts skipping, and I literally just want to rip out my entire stereo and throw it out the window because it just grates my nerves. I don't even know why. What?
Unfortunately, I like the sound of a needle screeching across a record, but it has to be a record I hate. Because I also think it's a sin for you to do that as well.
No, I gotta agree on that.
we need to get him a Simon and Garfunkel record. You can do that.
Oh, he will scratch the fuck out
I
of
won't
that.
scratch it. I'll break it over somebody's head.
Nameless, for example.
And I'll let it happen.
It would be like the most epic interruption ever.
Interruption! and then you just hear.
And unfortunately, what I'm trying to do, you've got to see what's left of my record collection from after I got divorced.
Weak.
And yes, I only have I used to have.
No, I wasn't saying it was weak. I'm saying it's weak that,
Oh, well, yeah, because I
The
had to
divorce
sell a lot.
split it.
So I'm actually starting to buy them back because there's certain, there's certain Pink Floyd albums, there's certain Iron Maiden albums that you really need to hear on vinyl so you can hear exactly what that complete recording was. You're going to miss it with the digital. And with the Oomph stuff, especially with, I said like 22, 23 songs, that I would love to hear them on vinyl.
Yeah. I agree.
I'd like to hear sex on vinyl.
I hope you're happy. I really hope you are happy. You asshole. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I can't do it.
Oh, that's right. I'm in the room of 3 fucking drummers. Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Skip. Giselle, that's
Sorry, that was back in my step days.
I didn't notice.
Was it Stomp the Living Room?
I mean, you want
I mean,
to?
that's what the lady above does. I mean, come on. Why are you off topic?
Because I have a very short attention span and I've been drinking caffeine.
Buckle down.
I like to stay fresh.
Because I need to look up something real quick.
Rat-a-tat-tat that ass.
And
I'm
you want
still
to punch him in the
concerned.
mouth.
What kind of person takes an interview photo with a bed in the background? That's what I want to know.
Depends on what
For
you're
those of you
interviewing
at
for
home.
now,
A
doesn't
dirty
it?
Brit.
If you're
Depends on what kind of
interviewing,
job you're applying for.
if you're interviewing for that sort of thing, you want it in the background.
He needs to have a sign on top, like over top his bed that just says "Abandon all hope." Keep going to your head.
For the kiddies at
I thought
home,
you were going to say that was
Except
what
he's
was in
British,
mind.
so I mean, it's like the two.
You've already
most
abandoned all your
tower
hope when you
power.
entered the country. Yeah, that's right.
The pool's too big. You can't swim anywhere else.
It's the freak!
This still takes, 3 days to cross the English Channel?
Well, I guess if you do it by raft, yeah.
What's the 21st century, dude?
Yeah,
Swimming.
there's a thing called
Yeah.
a channel.
What?
The tunnel that goes across.
Actually, it goes
And there's
Actually, the two of you can shut the hell up.
and there are boats as well.
Oh.
They're still a pack of fairies.
But no, for the kiddies at home that don't understand the cow reference, we recently made hilarious internet macros using a photo that Cal had on his Facebook page that he took before an interview. So he's in a dress shirt,
Severe dress shirt.
a huge tie,
Like I
and
saw
he
it.
took
In,
it with his webcam. So in the background, you see his DVD collection and then his bed. That
Like-
I don't think it was made either.
No, it was made.
Was it?
It was made.
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't read out the DVD title, so I was like, is this porn?
Enhance.
It's in his room, so...
It's got to be full.
Enhance.
It's in his room, down your eyes.
Enhance.
Do that noise way too well.
Now sharpen. More.
There's the
My
killer.
God. Gummy Granny's 8. It's not been released in the States yet.
It's in PAL format.
Granddaddies who have their teeth.
That's an American release.
Yeah, that was the redub.
Alrighty then.
Because we do everything backwards in America.
But at least we have teeth.
Damn right.
All of them. Whitened and straightened.
The Chinese have all our money, though.
Oh.
Just because my dentist is Chinaman.
Is it safe for big boy?
Hurrah, praise! You get your teeth for crying praise? I cream with a size. Like it is not from wine and no MSG. Praise.
Oh, no MSG. Very good.
Do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ew. Well, I guess you didn't request.
Yeah, I went to the
Say
dentist,
lines
and
for
when he
cartoons.
used to clean my teeth,
Yeah.
had a very distinct taste in it.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's a new phone.
I didn't swallow it though; I spit it out.
Ah! Suck taste bit.
What, you know like cum?
Oh, you want the yum yum clean I swish this in your mouth for praise.
It's 5 lights you pick.
Some of this we're going to be.
Wait. In all
The
reference.
cum of some young
No,
guy?
you know what?
What do you think was in it?
Then you know what? We might as well just leave. Don't even edit it. I mean, really.
Fly,
Let's-
fly.
We're
Fly.
we're gonna get hate mail no matter what we do, so we might as well just be
Dude.
as irreverent as possible.
I started this episode talking about American racism. I mean, come on, really?
Fly
We're gonna cut
Guys
out
You
this?
Click is actually from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
No, dude, no. I'm playing by South Park rules. Either everything's funny or
Yeah,
just no.
nothing is sacred.
Yeah.
I've talked about before how actually it was when we first talked about Denoya Got how I was like, because they have the Jack is Dead mix, which was or the radio mix or something.
Was it Jack Meehoff?
No, it was not. But no, how I just don't agree with censorship.
Okay, that's fine.
So
So
Alright, well,
retard is
then-
not a bad word, and there are ugly babies born every day. I've seen them.
don't
Yep.
even start on ugly babies.
There are some ugly babies. I've seen some ugly babies.
ugly fucking
I mean,
babies.
fuck.
All right. Well, then since we can make
Put a
fun of
hat on
everybody,
it and just hide his face.
I'll make fun of Americans from this part of the country and go, I voted for Sarah because she's hot.
There you go.
I could see
Anyways.
Russia from my doorstep. I'm Sarah Palin, and I approve this message. Abstinence, even though I've had a kid, and so has my daughter, who I taught abstinence to as well. Anyway, okay. Sorry.
She did a fucking good job. I'll tell you
I
that.
will hate to break the news to Giselle. You will do it.
Unfortunately, we still had the battering ram at hand.
Having speed!
Well, I mean, guys, we already brought it. Might as well use it. Put the doors open. Oh!
What happened to the little Indian that drank too much tea? He drowned in his teepee.
You are ridiculous.